Gentlemen, welcome to the Reject Garage. Today's project, we'll be working on my 2017 Jeep Patriot. Today, we are servicing the transmission for the very first time. This vehicle has 50,000 miles. Transmission's probably never been touched. Today's the day as a preventative measure, just to get it done early, and also in using a top quality fluid. Amsoil ATF. Resists heat better than any other. It's probably the best quality fluid that I've ever discovered and used. I've already started by removing the airbox. Next, I'll be removing the battery. Airbox needs to be removed so you can get to the check port, which is right there. I've already removed the 24mm or 15/16 plug for that. You've got an identical plug on the bottom that's got a magnet attached to it. That's the drain plug. Underneath the battery is going to be the fill plug. I know there's a lot to keep track of. Check plug for your dipstick. I had to buy a special dipstick for this. So I got one of these because for some reason they don't like to include it from the factory. Stupid, I know. I've run the engine up to temperature, running it through the gears. Transmission should be nice and warm. Gonna put it back in park, see where the fluid level's at. What a treat, you guys are gonna love this. Dipstick right in the tube, pull it out, dry as a lonely boner. Let's take a look at this temperature of the transmission to make sure it's up to close to operating temp. They recommend about 120 degrees. So we're pretty close, at least on the top of it. And let's check the bottom. Yep, so the fluid level should be somewhere on that dipstick. Now, interestingly enough, the vehicle has no drivability issues. Shifts fine, accelerates fine, goes right into reverse in gear quickly, just like it should. Now, I've already cracked the drain plug loose, so let's go ahead and take her off. See how much fluid comes out. Well, the color is not bad. Not super dark or anything. And it's not completely empty in there. That's a good sign, right? The plug is a little bit gunky. Focus. Come on, focus. Whatever. So definitely a couple of quarts of fluid are coming out. It's not super dark. I like what I see so far. I'm going to go ahead and wipe that drain plug clean. Drain plug is got some metal shavings on it, but it's magnetic, so it's made for that. Catches anything floating around in the fluid. This rag is, well, it was completely clean. And, oh yeah. Lots of metal on there. We'll get it all cleaned up though. Now I apologize for my video skills. I'm using an old cell phone. And I don't really do how-to videos, so I'm giving it a shot. See how it works out. If it's any good, I might keep doing them. Got a little bit of knowledge here and there I'd like to share with everybody. And I appreciate all the YouTube videos that have helped me teach myself a lot of these things that I have learned how to do over the years. That's much better. That being said, you'll be seeing all my bloopers as well too, because I'm not going to edit this video at all. I'm just shortening it out, pausing it every time I get a chance. It's kind of hard to see in the video, but we've got about, I'd say 3 quarts of fluid that came out. a little over 3 at the very most. Looks like 3 right on the dot, actually. So while I'm waiting for this to finish draining, we'll get the rest of the stuff ready to go. Get that battery removed. 10 millimeters on the battery terminals. I believe down there the battery clamp is a 13 millimeter. Anytime I remove the bateria, I like to use my handy dandy little Noco Genius 5 charger to make sure that the battery is fully charged when I do reinstall it. Sometimes I wonder to myself, why haven't I gotten one of these electric ratchets much sooner? Freaking easy. Now that the bateria is fully topped off at 100%, just for good measure on this charger, there's actually a repair mode. So you can go to 12 volt repair, and it desulfates and does some other fancy stuff to the battery to kind of rejuvenate it. I like to do that every so often on these older batteries. Granted, this one's just a little over a year old, so it's still in pretty darn good shape, I'd say. Now that the battery tray is removed, here's the fill port. Some people like to use the 3/8 drive in there. I found that what size, like 11/16 or something? I don't know what size, but whatever. It fit a little bit better than the 3/8 drive, so I went with that instead. Didn't want to strip it because this thing's made of plastic after all. Before I start filling anything, right in the middle of the transmission, you see this little rubber hose? There's a cap that I just took off of it. So this cap here keeps contaminants from getting in there. But before you fill it, you want to take that cap off so that the air has somewhere to go once you start filling it with new transmission fluid. Underneath the transmission, located at the front of the vehicle, there's a check port here. Going to go ahead and give that about a half a turn, I believe. Yep, don't want to force it, it is plastic, so about a half turn's all you need. Take that out. Of course, I will clean that before I reinstall. But I guess the idea behind this is once you plug up the bottom drain plug, you fill the transaxle with fluid until it starts to come out this front hole. And if you don't have one of those fancy dipstick tools that I have, from what I hear is you fill it until it starts to come out of this front hole. Then you put this cap back on, and then you add about 1 more quart. Now, I'm going to see where we're at that point once I see it start to come out of this front hole, see if anything measures on that dipstick. Then I will add another quart and see where we're at, and we'll take it from there. Goes without saying, always wipe things clean before you put the bolts back in. This bottom drain plug gets torqued to, I believe, 36 foot-pounds, so don't go too crazy with it. If my calculations are correct, looks like we got just a hair over 3 quarts in there. So, with this front drain plug still open, I know I need better light down here, darn it. The front drain plug's still open, the check port, I guess they call it. That's still open. The regular drain plug with the magnet on it, that's closed now. We can start adding some fluid. So, got my funnel in the fill port. Fluid's ready to go. And we'll start adding about 3 quarts. And we'll see if anything starts to come out that front port. As soon as I hear anything start to come out of that front port, then I will seal it up and know that I need to add approximately 1 quart after that, give or take. Now, that will be determined also by the dipstick that I purchased. Amazon and eBay has them. Less than 20 bucks. I think it's worth it. Yeah. Drink the potion. Drink up, girl. Alright, confusingly enough, as soon as I added my first quart, it started pouring out the front. So I added that little cap to the front of the transmission and put in 3 quarts. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3 to replace what did drain out. And I think from here we're going to reinstall the battery tray, the battery, start it up, run it through the gears, and then I can check the fluid through the rear check port. Since we are up to operating temperature, I'll let it run for a few minutes, sitting in each gear for at least a minute or two. Get the fluid up to a temperature because the fluid does expand as it gets hotter. So I've added about 3 quarts so far. I'm gonna go ahead and close up the fill port. I'm gonna leave that vent tube open still. And then the remaining amount with the engine running, and I'll be checking the fluid level, I'll be adding through the check port on the rear, right above where the differential is at. Being that the fill port is plastic, I only went finger tight on that guy. This gives me a chance to reinstall the battery. Once the battery's installed, I can start it up, run it through the gears, check the fluid level through the rear port, which is the check port where the dipstick goes in. Key contact. Oh, that was easy. 3 quarts in, 3 quarts out. Wait, what? Yeah, 3 quarts out, 3 quarts in. See, I told you there'd be some bloopers. Now to start it up and run it through the gears. And of course something fell in the engine bay. Let's go investigate. And it's my handy dandy flashlight. Oh, and it knocked the battery out. That's just wonderful. Make sure this puppy still works. Works if I put the battery in right. Come on. It's hard to do these things one-handed. Hey, we still have light. Anyways, I'm gonna continue to run it through the gears. Let the fluid warm up a little bit. You can see the engine has decreased temperature. I'm inside my nice toasty garage, so nothing too crazy. It's halfway insulated. Still gotta do the rest of it before summertime hits. Run it through these gears, warm it up, and then I can check the fluid using that brand new dipstick. What a mess of junk behind me on that reverse camera. Got this thing in here like a glove. Gonna have to warm it up a little bit more. It's not quite at 120 degrees yet. Close, but not there yet. Now for some reason I believe it was a little low from the start, because even after adding 4 quarts, still not registering anything on the dipstick. I followed the instructions as per the Haynes manual, plus the various YouTube videos I've already viewed. So at this point I'm adding all 5 quarts, which is what's called for in a drain and fill, because the entire transmission only carries about 7 quarts because of what's in the torque converter as well. Now I didn't do a full-on flush, I didn't disconnect any of the lines for the coolers, so I'm going to assume that 5 quarts will probably put me where I need to be. Now that being said, after I add this 5th quart, I'm probably going to drive it around the block real quick, leaving the airbox kind of as it is, you know. I'm not going to do much damage, just driving around the block. Not going to kick up a lot of dust for the engine to consume. And then I'll be able to just quickly verify where the fluid level is. Of course, checking with the temperature, making sure it matches where the fluid should land on the chart. I've got a little chart on this thing. Focus, damn it. Alright, I didn't want to focus. Stupid camera. But, yeah. I think we're at a mission success thus far. So, we'll know in a moment. So I'm about to take it around the block, and my other Jeep's in the way. Son of a gun. Fine. Alright, let's stick the Dignus end of this thing in here and see where the fluid level is at. Ooh, those heater hoses are hot. Alright, well, focus. It's at about 20, so that'll do for now. It's better than where it was. Of course, dummy me, I drove around with that port open, so maybe when I was doing 30 miles an hour or whatever speed I got to, some of the fluid might have gotten out. I see a little bit of fluid on my steering rack, so I probably pissed a little bit of it out. Good thing I didn't drive very far. That was a stupid move on my part, but you know, you live and you learn. So I can definitely see when I drove around without that plug-in. I didn't go very far, just around the block. I did spill some fluid, so don't do like I did. Make sure you put that drain check plug or whatever, the check port, put the plug back on that before you take it around the block to check the level. Final fluid level check, let's see where we're at. At about a temperature of 125, 130 degrees on the transmission. We are at about 20 millimeters on that stick. Focus, damn it. So, that's good enough for now. If I have to get more fluid, I'll top it off later, but it's better than where it was when I started, so I think the transmission will be happy. Time to reinstall the 24 millimeter check plug on the top of the transmission in the rear. Put my airbox back, and triple check all my work, like I always do, because you never know. But that's about it. Thanks for watching. By the way, this is a great manual to have. It doesn't cover everything, but it covers most of the stuff you need to know. Highly recommended. Thanks for watching. Random thought. This stuff is always a good idea. Job well done. Have a great day, everybody.